If you kept a diary during the coronavirus pandemic, what would it say? Would you talk about the toilet paper shortage, the protests, or what it was like for your family during lockdown? At Michigan State University, a team of researchers is making sure those changes are documented.
So it's kind of a little time capsule of the pandemic so far.
The Michigan Diaries project is documenting the lives of Michiganders during the coronavirus era. The project started back in the spring with 2 linguistics professors at MSU.
Michigan was just starting to go into lockdown, and we had a conversation basically immediately about how the lockdowns are such a big social change and are likely to have a really big impact on language.
That conversation led to questions. How could they document changes happening in people's lives? And as a consequence, how might their language be changing? So they came up with anonymous audio diary entries.
One of our goals is to capture stories from a diverse range of Michiganders. And by Michiganders, we really mean anybody who is currently living in Michigan.
And of course, we also want people to feel free to say whatever they want to say, because we don't want people to worry too much about how they're talking. We would like them to just talk.
And Michiganders have been talking. They're hearing from adults, teens, and kids. So far, around 200 people have submitted diary entries, and around 95 people are doing it consistently.
And one thing that I noticed is, at the beginning of the lockdowns, there was a lot of documenting new things.
We have intended to try to make our own masks.
As we got into the fall, the sort of tone of participants' diaries went towards, I'm bored, this is hard, my mental health is not doing that well, and I missed the summer, which the big things that were happening in the summer, the Black Lives Matter protests. We heard from participants who, despite wanting to social distance, felt that it was more important for them to be out protesting.
I'm glad to have taken part in it. I'm sad that it's something that has to happen.
They also asked people about Michigan-specific stories.
So when the flooding happened in Midland, we had diarists respond to that and tell us about their experience of the flooding.
The devastation and the damage around here is unbelievable.
To build up trust with participants, the research team has all released audio diaries for you to listen to. Lindsay Moore is a senior undergrad student who is in charge of story selection and is also a part of the brand team.
The generations that have lived through the quarantine and are old enough to recognize and understand the importance of this social isolation probably will go about their days differently.
And so it's really interesting that we've become not only just a source for research, but also kind of a social source for people to not feel so alone.
And all of this data is going to a bigger cause. The project has a partnership with the Library of Michigan.
When our project wraps up, we will deposit anonymized versions of recordings from participants who have agreed to it with the Library of Michigan, so that their data can be also part of a bigger corpus of social documentation.
We want to leave a collection of stories that other people in Michigan can benefit from over time. There will always be a resource there where people can go and listen to these stories from this really strange time that we're living in.
The Michigan Diaries Project wants to continue hearing from Michiganders about what's going on in your life. You can visit fox47news.com. We have all the details you need. On the campus of Michigan State University, I'm Tiana Jenkins.